Equal access to justice for people with speech and language disabilities. In this interview, Pamela Cross, who is a lawyer, talks with Christine Donato and Colin Phillips about access to justice services for people who have communication disabilities. Christine and Colin hear and understand everything that is said. Christine speaks and uses a communication device. Colin points to letters and words on his communication board. His assistant speaks out his message.
I want to start by asking each of you if you can clear up what I think is quite a common misperception among people, including legal professionals, who don't work with people with disabilities. I often hear people say, oh well, people with disabilities don't ever need a lawyer because they're being cared for by people they trust, so they don't ever have legal issues. What are your thoughts about that? Colin?
In FAC, fact, the RESE, may I predict, research says that PEO, people, WI, with disabilities, comma, ES, especially C, communication disabilities, comma, are in POSI positions where they are VIC victims of B, abuse, and OT, other other CRI crimes. And the PERP perpetrators are often CAR caregivers, O or OT, other PE people in POS positions, O of T, trust.
I think people with communication disabilities are even more at risk for abuse, crime, offenses, and all that. Well, that's because a lot of times they don't want to come forward and tell about the abuse, because the abuser is oftentimes someone that's caring for them, someone that's helping them eat, helping them get dressed, helping them wash. And there's oftentimes a misconception that why would your caregiver abuse you? That's not going to happen, which it does.
So what I'm hearing both of you say is that someone with a disability may have more rather than less need to engage with the legal system.
The justice system, the way it is now, is not accessible for people with communication disabilities. We're not heard, and we're oftentimes afraid that if we do say something, we're not going to be understood or taken seriously. I know a lot of people with communication disabilities don't report crime, don't report abuse, because of the And that's very sad. And it needs to be fixed.
This just enables the CY cycle of abuse to CO continue.
What happens if a person with a communication disability has to contact the police?
If it was me, I would want to bring an AS assistant W with me because it is likely that the PO police would not understand how I communicate. Or estimate my B abilities. I would say that all too often people W with communication disabilities are not taken seriously in these situations.
Some people think that if you have a speech or language disability, you automatically have a cognitive disability, and that you are incapable of thinking for yourself. It's true that some people do have intellectual disabilities and they need assistance to communicate, but people tend to make a general assumption that we are all the same. I know people who were told they would not make reliable witnesses because they communicated by pointing to pictures and letters on a display.
What do you think the police should do when they're communicating with a person who has a communication disability?
At the very minimum, all FIR first responders need to put PRO protocols in PLA place about how to C-O-M, communicate. W-I, with. S-O-M, someone. Who. H, has. A. S, P, speech. O, or. L, A, N, language, disability. For. E, example. They. N, need. To. Ask. Me. How. They. Can. Work. W. With. Me. To. F. A. C. Facilitate. My. C. O. Communication.
What if somebody doesn't have anyone to assist them with their communication?
We have a major problem with this, as we don't have the same level of support that people with other communication difficulties have. For example, if you're deaf, you could request a sign language interpreter. If you speak a foreign language, you could request a translator. But with us, with those of us who have communication disabilities, people don't understand that we need a communication assistant not only to help us, but to help them as well. This needs to happen.
I agree. This is a major human rights inequity, and one that needs to be addressed. People with communication disabilities have rights under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, as well as under human rights legislation. Every province, every territory has human rights legislation. These rights include the right to equal access to justice services. What the Charter says is that everybody has an equal right before and under the law. That's not being met as long as people do not have effective ways to communicate substantive information in the legal and justice context. Communication Disabilities Access Canada is working to start up these services. I want to thank both of you for sharing your insights with us here today.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Learn more about communication access to justice by visiting our website,